first day back on a track that we started maybe back in March of this year. Repeat client. We cut his walnut back in 16, I believe. And I told the gentleman when we started we had a lot going on because we were on the railroad project at the time, and we were under, of course, a timeline you guys know, but then it got wet and they were ready to plant beans, so we couldn't get in here and finish what we needed to do. Now they've got the beans out and we're in here cutting. And I knew there was some good walnut on the job, but one thing I just kind of overlooked, I guess, was some of this river bottom timber. And I love cutting this stuff. So here's a sycamore I just cut. If we could ever veneer out a sycamore again, this would be a good candidate right here. Got a little spot right here where we had a growth kind of coming off of it, but we can trim that up. But small heart, no worm, no shake. That is nice. Good size to it. The maple's cutting really good. And I enjoy cutting river bottom timber. I know we're known for cutting large amounts of walnut, but one thing I love cutting is maple and ash and sycamore here in the bottom. Relatively close to home, Nevada, Missouri. We've got a skidder right up the road. We're going to move here the first of the week, and we're going to try to knock this job out this week because after this week, I need to go back to North Missouri to Polo and get started on a track up there I've had bought for a while. Now they've got their crops out, but I don't know if we'll be able to finish this week. There's some of this timber in here is a little bigger than I originally thought, which is never a bad thing. And we've actually kind of got a deal going with our maple and ash right now. So really, it's funny how things work out and play out, because it's just like it all kind of come together for this to work right now. Back in this familiar stuff today. Had a little skiff of snow last night. It's not what we needed because it's made things that much more greasy, but Dad and I wanted to come over and put some trees on the ground. See, there's some walnut we cut there. We primarily cut maple this morning, but we knew these few big ones are over here, and there's some more good sized trees, and we just couldn't help it. Come over here and put them on the ground. Heck of a tree right there. Getting geared up to start dragging logs over here at Nevada. Moved equipment in today. We brought the 333. Of course, we've got the UTC bar on. We've got the tooth bucket. We've got a brush grapple right there because we've got some tree tops to clean up out of the fields when they hit the fields. Of course, we brought the 648H or 12 model over here. It was just up the road on another job. So it was relatively close. Of course, we've got the Ranger. John drove the 5500. I brought the 3500. Dad and Kenny will be here shortly. Should be here anytime, actually. Kenny will jump on the skidder. John will be on the skid steer. Dad and I will be cutting. It's pretty sloppy. That little skiff of snow we had Saturday night into Sunday has made things greasy. Doesn't take a whole lot in this part of the world to get nasty anyway. Calling for another chance of rain Thursday. This time of year, it's pretty rough over here if we get much moisture or rain. It doesn't dry out fast. It's sloppy. And this is the kind of mud that just sticks to you. So it's definitely not fun. So we'll drag all the logs from back there up here. We'll work them up here. Then we'll probably try to back in right there where the truck's at to load with the Western Star. See, Johnny's moving those tops now. Having the grapple and the skid steer makes it a lot easier, kind of doing a little more finesse work on cleanup, especially the tree tops when they come out in the field like this, because we want to keep the field as clean as possible, because we know the farmers don't want to deal with all these limbs and branches out here. So they've already chiseled this field, so we're going to run the edge of it anyway with the skidder, just so we don't have to get out in it. But running the skid steer out there at the grapple, we can kind of rake that stuff up pretty good, because some of these trees, it's really putting them out in the field's the best place for them to go. We really don't want to put them back in the creek if we don't have to, because when we put them out in the creek, we've still got to drag the whole tree and top up out of there. So it's just as easy to do this right here, kind of put them back in here when we can, because not all of them want to fall this way. Then we can just come along, Johnny can do the cleanup. I'm going to let him get some of that stuff cleaned up before I run up through there, because they're all around this field, them treetops from where we cut yesterday and the day before. Then back in this heavier timber, back over there, if you can kind of see through this glass, that's where there's a larger concentration of trees. Better trees I've cut in quite a while. Well, since Sunday anyway. Got another little one right there. This one's hung up. One more to cut there. Then the big one right here. We wanted to get all these out of here first before we cut this big one. Dad and I were looking at it. I didn't want to fall this one back on these trees for fear that it might hit just hard enough to pop that tree. Of course, you see way up in there, it's got a crook to it, which I'm not worried about up there. It's from right up in there down. It's pretty mint. Half the battle with logging, especially for us, is being able to work in any kind of weather conditions. Here in southwest, western Missouri, northern Missouri, we have rainy seasons where we get a lot of rain, and it can slow you down, especially if you're working in kind of low bottom ground or farm ground. So that's why we see it's important to have track machines. It's like right now, we had a ton of rain over here Thursday night into Friday. This is our log deck. Now this piece of the property right here is not farmed at all. They've kind of got it as a borrow pit for some dirt. Just on the other sides here, of course, they're row cropping it, but right here, this is no big deal to go in here and kind of do this, which it's not going to rut up. And what does rut up, we can put the bucket back on and slick it up pretty easy, because that track machine really doesn't emit a lot of ground pressure, so we're not cutting down too deep. But we're loading right here on the side of the road. It's a slow going process, feeding logs over here like this, but we use the UTC bar there to buck them up, because we've already got them marked. So once we buck them up, Johnny can just pack them right over here to me, and I can load the truck up. Right here, we've already got the truck just about fully loaded. We got a little bit of room for a few more on there. We're working on the wagon right now. We're going to try to get 2 loads today. So we're wanting to kind of get these, if it's going to be probably a week or better before we can go back to dragging over here. We've still got several trees to get out, but definitely track machines, they keep us going. We've said that for a few years, the importance of these little skid steers we run. See there, the UT bar kind of doing its thing. Pretty good load of ash and maple on. You're not going to get rich cutting this stuff by any means. I've never in my life, in my 23 or 24 years of logging, I've never known there to be a great maple market. We can get rid of it. That's about it. I've heard of some guys getting 80 cents on the dollar before. We never have. But I enjoy cutting. Spit and the ash both. I always love working in the river bottom, so does Dad. We're just going to take this stuff in, and we've got a little bit of a grade market. At least we can move it anyway. But the UTC bar has definitely been a lifesaver on this little job here. So Johnny and I were just talking. He's kind of getting that learning curve figured out, which we've got a loose chain. We've got a chain that's starting to dull, which we've bucked several feet of logs with it in muddy, nasty conditions in this river bottom. So we're actually going to take the machine in. We've got one leak on a vent line we want to address, so we're going to take it in. We'll sharpen the chain because we've got an electric sharpener to hit that big 3/4 pitch chain with. get it ready to go. It's gonna be probably a few days before we can do much anywhere.